The BP Portrait Award has the Travel Award. They offer it every year to all the exhibiting artists who are all eligible to submit a proposal. I wrote my proposal about this indigenous community of weavers that lived in Peru, in the mountains in Peru. Really has always fascinated me, the kind of involvement with textiles and really how much of their life that entails. I went to Peru and I lived for 2 months, or just under 2 months, with this community. When I was there, I was just experiencing being part of their mountainscape, and it felt really epic, and I knew I wanted a certain atmosphere. There were lots of things that were kind of embedded in my mind from being there that I wanted to get across in the piece. I knew straight off I wanted to work on a really grand scale, and there was no way that I could work from life up in the mountains. There was just no way. So the way that I tackled that one is I took a lot of video, I took a lot of photos and did a lot of drawings and sketchbooks and wrote diaries and things. And when I got back to my studio in Edinburgh, then I kind of worked from all that material there. But the most important thing to me was just how colourful these people were, and that's really why I was inspired by them in the first place, having never been there before. Behind some of you there, along the top, there's some studies that I worked on when I was there on a more manageable scale from life. And then the pieces along the bottom there, I was, because of the whole involvement with the textiles, I was working with weaving into the drawings themselves and incorporating that, looking at what materials I was using and how I could deal with what I wanted to get across. All this work is what I did before I started on the big painting, just to kind of work through my ideas and then get a feeling for the characters of the people before I put them into a composition together. I kind of knew roughly where I wanted certain faces to be, but whole gestures, whole faces have changed completely throughout the course of the painting. So I guess if you could take some sort of scan, you'd see like lots of different people, and some people that aren't even in the final piece. I work really, really freely and just kind of building up the layers and the textures. I didn't know straight off that I was going to put their mountains in the background, because all these people were originally grouped in their village, which has, thatched awnings and little pigs, and it's quite villagey. But I started painting that in and it just didn't feel right, so then I just took a wash over it and completely started to repaint it to really get that feeling of atmosphere and kind of a timeless quality. I wanted the landscape to feel almost like, it felt very familiar to me as a Scottish person, which was weird because it was so far away from home, but I think I wanted that, and I wanted some element of old Dutch landscape painting. You can't quite place it because these people exist, really, I felt, in their own kind of time scale. They really don't move with all the fast-paced modern society I'm used to.
Did you pick that landscape because it works in contrast with the outfits of the indigenous people?
The kind of general colours that I was using, there's kind of a green and sepia almost, and the colours I really thought about contrasting with the red. I think the actual landscape, there was a lot more yellow in it, but I think this is it because I was working from a lot of photo reference, my own drawings and film stills as well, but because I was working from a lot of photo reference, it's always important to me that I maintain some kind of energy in my work. So that's really why I have the method I have, like switching faces around, and if something's not working, I'll take it out and put something else in. But again with colour, like if one colour is not working, then I'll take another colour in. And for example, some colours here really couldn't exist. It's kind of artistic license in a way. Putting one colour behind another one can really make something come forward. It's kind of a process that I continuously work through right the way through the painting. Really, if something's not working, then I kind of see what I can do to develop that, and if it is, then that's good. So.
How long did it take you to paint it?
Well, I got back from Peru in November and then submitted the piece in March, so really I was working from like 7 in the morning till 11 at night with very little breaks. So it was long, and mainly, again, I think because of the method that I have, that factors into it, because things were changing all the time.